Hi, my name is Selma and I love Spanish food. Today we're going to interview the owner and executive chef of MoVida. Thanks for having me. Can you please introduce yourself?
My name's Frank Camorra. I'm the owner and chef of MoVida.
What encouraged you to open your own restaurant in Australia rather than in Spain?
Well, I mean, I grew up in Australia, so I'm more comfortable here. I worked in Spain for a year or so. I was born there, but I grew up here since I was 5 years old, and I just felt that it would be more successful. I mean, it's like, think about Superman. When he goes back to Krypton, he's just one of everyone normal. But when he's in on Earth, he's got superpowers. So that's kind of it. There was a real market here for good Spanish food.
When people think of Spanish food, what pops into their heads?
Strangely enough, it's changed now. People understand it better. But when we first started, one of the things was, is Spanish food spicy?
Yeah.
And that was one of the misconceptions about Spanish food, that it was really hot, which is probably nothing, further from the truth. People sort of understanding now it's Mediterranean flavours, it's social, people like to share the food, really direct, strong flavours.
Do you reckon that Spanish cuisine in Australia has become popular over the recent years?
Oh, it's becoming more and more popular. You can see that by the number of businesses that are starting to import Spanish products. Yep. Not only food, but wines, different beers. And those products aren't just going to Spanish restaurants, they're going to general, restaurants. They'll use a couple of Spanish ingredients, a couple of Spanish wines, like they do, and also like, when you go out, often you think in your head, what am I going to eat? I'm going to eat Chinese, I'm going to eat Italian, French and Spanish has started to become part of that conversation. Do I want to eat Spanish food?
Yeah. What makes the tapas at MoVida more successful than the other ones?
I don't look. I guess I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, but I mean, we obviously try and produce a really good ingredient. I think one of the best things I was ever told when I was in Spain, my auntie gave me the best piece of advice was like, always serve the best, always try and get the best quality product and serve it. And I've always tried to think, that's in the corner of what we do. It's about the quality of the product, the ingredient, and then sort of treating it with respect. It's just hard work.
Because you travelled back to Spain over the recent years, what's the difference between the Spanish food in Spain and Spanish food in Australia? Or if there is a difference, really?
No, definitely. I mean, there's cultural differences, like the way Spanish people eat is different to the way Australian people eat. Their tastes are different. So, you do need to adjust food a little bit. Like I know that in Spain we use a lot more olive oil. We cook vegetables a lot further than what we do in Australia because the taste is slightly different. So you have to adjust. Yep. Even like some ingredients, like for an example, there's a pork pate in the Catalan region called sobrasada, which is like a really rich porky pate. They put it on their bread for breakfast. You could never ever serve that in Australia. I mean, so it's just the different cultures have different tastes. Like Spain, tapas in Spain isn't just like one thing. Like it's like a pub in Australia is not just one thing. You've got your pub that is typical workers' pub. People go and have a beer after work and have a parmigiano, and then you've got pubs that are almost fine dining restaurants. There's everything in between, and that's the same with Spanish tapas. There's tapas bars, a workers' bar. People go in there, have some simple food, and really expensive versions of it as well.
Yeah. How much has Spanish food changed over the years in Australia?
Oh, it's changed. It's so much better than it used to be. I remember, it was, all about sun, sangria, and that was it, and you go into a Spanish restaurant and it'd be like gambas al ajillo, garlic prawns, a really bad paella and a flamenco show, and that was Spanish food, which is fun. Yeah. But it's not all about Spanish food. It's not what Spanish food is regional, and people are starting to understand that different parts of Spain have different styles of food, what the flavours are about, what makes Spanish food different to the rest of Europe, is the fact that it has such an influence from North Africa, from the New World, from different sort of other European countries that they've traded with. So, that complexity of Spanish food is much more understood.
So, where do you see Spanish food in the future? in Australia?
I think, you know, Spanish food is only going to become more and more popular. I honestly believe that because I think it's successful. It's the way Australians like to eat. It's casual. It's not, you know, sit down. You feel like you need to have an entree, a main, dessert. Spend 3 hours at the table. You know, people live really busy lives. So the Spanish food is great. It's super tasty. You can have something really quickly and go.
Yeah.
Which is which in the way we live now suits us. So I think more and more people are going to go in that direction.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Frank.
No problem,
that's about it.